Hello everyone, my name is Amanda and welcome back to another video of the Planty Mandy. As plant parent, after collecting plants for a while, we tend to engage into activities such as trading or gifting or even selling plants, right? So in order to do that successfully, we must know how to pack and ship the plants. So I have been doing that for a little bit over a year now, and I would love to share my knowledge on how to pack and ship the plants properly so your recipients will actually receive a plant in great conditions. So I'm going to do that in a two-part series, right? The first one will be packing, and the second part will be shipping. So today we're going to go for part one. It's how to pack your plants. All right, so before we get into the technical part of like how to pack it, let's talk about the factors that we have to consider in order to determine like how to pack the plants, right? So when we ship plants, like when you think about it, it's you essentially pull the plants out of its growing environment and put it in a dark box for an extended period of time before it can actually come out. And when it's come out, it's actually have to trying to get used to a new environment. So it's a lot of stress for the plants. So as standards, we want to really consider how can we minimize this stress, right? So the number one factor is when you ship the plants, the package may get tossed around a lot, right? It may have to endure a lot of impact. So we want to make sure that when we pack plants, we think about like how do we minimize those impacts. And second, like I said, the plant's gonna be inside the box for extended period of time, and sometimes there even is shipment delayed. So for example, like it was supposed to take like 3 days, but now it takes 7 days for the plant to get to the recipient. So we have to consider that possibility and make sure that even though there will be extended shipment period, the plant will still survive inside the box. So with all those factors considered, I'm going to show you how to pack the plants. Okay, so let's talk about the first thing, which is the most important thing, which is the plants. So in order to determine how to pack a plant, the first thing we have to consider is like what plant we are shipping, right? So for example, you will ship like a succulent, right? Probably really differently than a Syngonium albo or Monstera deliciosa because they just have different kind of like morphology, which is the growth structure of the plant, and also drought tolerance, right? So we will have to consider all those factors. So today I'm going to be shipping 2 plants, so I can show you as an example. The first one is this really beautiful, oh my God, I love this plant. I'm going to have a hard time parting with it. But this really beautiful Monstera deliciosa, variegata, albo variegata. Sorry, one more time. Monstera deliciosa, albo variegata, right? So I'm gonna shipping this to one of my good friends, Rory, and ta-da! And the second plant that I'm gonna be shipping and showing you is this really cute Hoya imbricata, the taco Hoyas. Ta-da! So this is what I meant by you have to look at what plant you're shipping. So obviously, the growth structure of this Monstera albo is really different than this Hoya imbricata, and so is the size, right? So I'll be packing them really differently. For example, right, for this one, I'll obviously need a bigger box. And secondly, because of you know, all the size stems of this Monstera deliciosa, I would have to probably reinforce it or protect the stem somehow because I don't want the stems to be broken during transit by any chance. So this is the one thing that I would have to consider. In contrast, this one will be much easier to pack because obviously it's smaller size and more compact, and then it doesn't have a lot of extensive, you know, or fragile stem. So I can pack this one probably pretty easily. So now, after we think about the growing structure, the second question that I got a lot is, do we ship the plant bareward? So that's a really great question actually, because there is this like conflict, right? So on the one hand, we want to save shipping costs for both the senders and the recipient because obviously the more medium you're sending with the plants, the heavier the package and the more expensive the shipping cost is, right? But on the other hand, you also want to make sure that if you ship the plants barewood, it's gonna give the plants even more stress, right? And it may arrive to the recipient in poor condition. So those are the things that we have to consider. So I always ship plants in medium. I never ship plants bare roots because I really rather pay a little bit more, but to have the plants arrive to the recipient in great conditions. So, and also I feel bad for I feel bad for stressing the plants out even more than I have to, because they are live creatures, right? However, I can tell you one compromise that I would make, right? So let's look at this imbricata. So this imbricata is propagated in this exact container and this exact sphagnum moss. And it had been going in here for like quite a few weeks, like maybe 3 weeks or so. So it's really well rooted in this container and this medium. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna ship it with this medium. And by the way, this is like long fiber sphagnum moss in here. And I always use long fiber sphagnum moss as my propagation medium. So if you're interested, I'll link my moss propagation video somewhere. But yeah, so I'm gonna just ship it straight up with this one, right? So this is easy because it's already going in the medium and the container that I want to ship it in, which is pretty lightweight, by the way, right? However, what if I want to ship like something bigger and then in a lot more medium? So let's say this is not sphagnum moss. Let's say this is soil, which is a lot heavier than sphagnum moss, right? So if that's the case, you really have to look at the root structure or how extensive the root system is for the plants. So if the root system is smaller, so what you can do is, what I do is I will just take the plants out from the pot, from the bigger pot, and then I will keep the medium. I will keep the soil, like some of the soil. And then I'll move the plants with the soil that I kept, like a small amount of soil, into a smaller pot. And I will ship the plants in those soil, all together. So that way, on the one hand, you don't really like completely deprive the plants with a growing medium, which the plants will need for water and nutrient and whatnot. And the second thing is that you can, and the other thing is that you also save some shipping costs because, you basically reduce the medium that the plant is in, or reducing the size of the pot. So that way, you and your recipient don't have to pay too much on shipping. So that would be the compromise that I would make. So yeah, so that would be how do you deal with the plants. So now after we talk about the plants, like let's talk about the packing material. So there's, a lot of stuff that, not a lot, but there's like some stuff that we will need in order to accomplish what we discussed earlier, which is, to make sure we minimize the impact, keep the plants surviving even though, shipment is delayed, and also make sure the plants arrive in the at the recipient at a great condition, right? So first of all, we need some packing papers. So I like green because it's pretty, but you don't have to have the green one. I also have this just plain newspaper, kind of paper. I kind of like this because it's not too hard, and then it's not too soft, so it's like the perfect consistency. The second thing you'll need is some cotton. So I like cotton because it's biodegradable. Same as paper. That's why I try to use as much biodegradable or compostable material as possible. So this is crucial for absorbing the impact and also insulate your pen. So this is really important. I really like to use this. And then the next thing I'll have is like some tape. Like you can, you obviously will need like a smaller Scotch tape. And this is just like a big packing tape, right, for your box. And then I like to label all my plants properly because it will be confusing, right? If the recipient forgot what they ordered for whatever reason. So I got some like plant tag here. I also got some, stickers. So I'll write the plant's name on there, and then I put it on the container that I'm gonna be shipping out. And I also have a spray bottle. I'll show you why I need this, and also some paper towel. Oh, and also some cushion. So these are all materials that I reuse. So I got when I ordered some stuff, and then it came with all this plastic bubbles, and obviously this is non-composable, right? So plastic. Ugh. But since it already exists, so I'm gonna make the I'm gonna get all the use out of it. So I always recycle, as you can see, always recycle this, not recycle, sorry, I always reuse the packing material I receive. So that would be good for also absorbing the impact, and obviously you'll need a box with the right size. So this is also very important. You don't want to underpack or overpack your plants. So meaning that, like, if it is a small plant, you don't want to have a huge box, because you have to stuff a lot of material in there to make sure that the plant doesn't, like, you know, get locked around or squished, right? Also, you don't want to pack like a big plant, like, you know, there's no way this plant gonna fit into this box, right? For example, because if you do that, you also will damage your plant. So make sure that you pick the right size of box. So this is just one of the USPS priority box, which I always use, and they are free to order online. So, but I'll go into more about like actually shipping the plants in the next part. So, oh, and last but not least, this is extra. This is something I do. I always like to include thank you notes for my customers, or like people who trade with me, or like people that I give the plants, because I think it's important to add a personal touch. So yep, so this is completely extra. So that's that. Awesome. So that's all the material we need to pack the plants, and let's get started. All right, so for the rest of this video, you probably won't see my face a lot, because the main point is for me, oops, sorry, that's my socks. The main point is for me to show you how to pack the plants properly, right? So let's say we start with this nice green paper, right? And remember, the first plant we want to pack is this Hoya imbricata. So what I'm gonna do is, so since this is in the speculum moss, right? And I keep it a little bit moist, but not soggy wet. Make sure that you don't ship your plant soggy wet, like, you know, we discussed earlier. So yeah, so what I'm gonna do is, remember this paper towel? So I'm gonna tear a part of it out, and then I'm gonna like just lightly sprays it. Like, you don't have to like make it soggy wet, right? So, and then I'm gonna twist it a little bit, and from here I'm gonna put it in the pod or the container, whatever you call this. So for two reasons. Number one, it's gonna keep up like a little bit of humidity, and number two is avoid the medium from coming out. So because this is small, so it's probably gonna be, you know, it's probably not gonna come out anyway, but you know, I like to be safer. So after that, I'm gonna get some tape. Oopsie. I'm gonna get some tape. And then I'm gonna like just, you know, tape it down. So that way, just an extra level of security right here. So I'm gonna tape it down on both sides, and ta-da! So now this plant is secure and have some kind of moisture. So remember, right, we want to make sure that even though if the plants are stuck in shipment, it's still, you know, gonna survive, and we don't want it to, you know, completely dry out. So yep, so that's that. And after I finish with the plants, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of this cotton. I'm gonna make a nice, nice little bed for my Hoya imbricata. And from here, I'm just gonna put it right here. I try not to bend it or anything, right? And you can tuck the vine in a little bit, that's okay. And from here, I'm just gonna put more cotton on top. So as you can see, the plant now is completely protected by this cotton, right? So it's also gonna help to insulate, it's gonna help to absorb the impact, which is really great. And from here, I'm just gonna grab a couple pieces of this paper, and I'm gonna wrap it up. Yep. So you can turn it around to make it look a little bit better. And I'm gonna roll it, and ta-da! And this is a rubber plant, and I am gonna put this thank you sticker on it because I'm so extra. So this is how I pack a smaller plant, just like that. So that way, like if you squeeze it, like you can't feel the plants at all. That's how you know that the plant is actually like, you know, pretty protected, right? So sometimes I like to send boneless cutting for my customer. So I got this Hoya memoria cutting right here that I would like to send my customer. So this is when you actually use this kind of plant tag. So I put, you know, Hoya memoria, obviously the name of the plants, and also I put gifts. So people is like, okay, that's a gift. It's not like, oh, what is this? So this plant tag is really cool because you see there's like a couple different knots on here, so you can adjust the size. So I'm just gonna wrap it around, and I'm gonna tuck it in right here in this hole, and I can adjust it. I want this knot right here, and ta-da! So this is the boneless cutting I'm gonna be giving my customer. And for cutting wise, right, I'm gonna wrap it like very similarly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get more cotton right here, right? So same thing, cotton. We probably don't need as much because it's a smaller cutting. So from here, I'm gonna put it right in the middle. So someone asked me, do I have to like, you know, put like some kind of wet paper towel? So I normally don't do that for more succulent plants. Like, you know, this Hoya cutting is pretty succulent. Plus, you do want the cutting to callus before you actually propagate it, right? So again, I'm gonna put my propagation video somewhere on the screen so you can see. But yeah, but to answer the question is no. I don't wrap it in paper towel, especially if there's like more succulent plant. So same thing, I'm just gonna put it on top, and I am gonna do the exact same thing. Grab some green paper, gonna wrap it up, and wrap it up. Just like that, ta-da! And same thing, I'm gonna put a sticker on here, just so it look pretty. So, ta-da! So this is my finished products. So I'm going to put this paper in here. Just make sure that, you know, it is sufficient padding. And then I'm going to put the plants right on top, like this. All right. So after that, I'm going to put more paper to pack it up, right? Just so it have a good cushion. So more paper right here, I'm just gonna put it on top. And last but not least is my thank you note. I cannot tell you how many times I forgot my thank you note, and then I have to like open the package. So anyway, so after we are done, we're just gonna close this up, and close this up. So as you can see, you'll have to write the recipient address right here, your own address here, and then you tape it up. So that's pretty much how I package a plant. Okay, so next we're gonna do the bigger plant, which is my Monstera deliciosa albo variegata. I have to make sure I say it correctly. So right now I have it growing in this glass jar, and obviously I'm not gonna send a glass jar because it may break for one, and for two, it's heavy, right? So what I'm gonna do first, let me move this really quick, is I'm gonna get one of this like lighter nursery pot, like that's I just, you know, reuse. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna carefully, very carefully, you don't want to like, you know, pull or break the root or anything like that. Just slowly, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle this out. Ta-da! It's a mess. So you can see like it have all this root coming out. It's a really well-rooted plant. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just put this in here, and then I'm gonna put the moss, like the medium that it is currently growing in, so that way it doesn't really like, you know, shock the plant because I use a completely different medium. I essentially just change the container and that's it. So ta-da! So make sure all the roots is covered. That is very important. So as you can see, it is in its new pot and all the roots are covered. And same thing as the imbricata. So I'm gonna use my paper towel again. I'm gonna like spray it. Whoopsie. I'm just gonna like make it a little bit moist. So bear in mind that the moss is moist, like it's lightly moist, it's not soggy wet. Again, you never want it to be soggy wet. So ta-da! So you put the paper towel on there, and then from there, I'm just gonna tape it up like how I did with the imbricata. But I'm gonna use the thicker tape just because it's a bigger plant. It's a bigger pot. So I'm gonna tape it, and I'm gonna cut it. And then I'm gonna take the other side. I'm gonna cut it. Same thing, just make sure that it is nice and secure. And I'm gonna cut it. Ta-da! And the plant is ready. Just like that. Alright, so that now the plant is ready, so we're gonna go into actual wrapping. And this is like, honestly, the most important part to make sure that the plant is safe during transit, right? So, same thing like I did before, I'm just gonna use like the cotton right here. Yeah, I'm probably gonna use more because it's a bigger plant, right? So the most important thing is you're gonna protect the upper part, right? The stem part, right? So you want to measure and just make sure that, you know, the stem and the leaves are protected. So how do you gonna place the leaf is also important. You don't want to fold the leaves and it may break, right? So I normally go with how the leaves normally go laterally to place the leaf. So for example, you can see this leaf draped down. So I'm just gonna put it like how it's always grow, which is draping down. I'm not gonna like flip it up, right? So I'm gonna drape it down, and same thing, like this one is also like going this direction. So I'm gonna, you know, place it the same direction. And so is this one. So make sure that you have enough padding. You know, this is the thing that you can't be stingy. It's like, you just need to make sure that you really, really, really protect the plant. So you can see like this is pretty well protected, right? And you see all the screen. I'm just gonna make sure that I use more cotton and they are all well covered. Yep, not gonna be stingy on this. And as you can see, the top is still a little bit showing right here, but I'll show you how to fix it in a little bit. So after you look at the plant, it's pretty well protected, then you can roll it up. So this I'm gonna use this like bigger green paper. I'm gonna roll it up. It's okay if it doesn't wrap everything up at the first place, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it a couple more times in different angles. So for example, I'm gonna roll it over, right? And then I am gonna do it again. Just so I'm sure that the whole plant is secure nicely. You can feel the pot here. So ta-da! So this is pretty good. This is pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tape. Same thing. I'm just gonna tape a thank you right there because it's cute and it's pretty. And at the bottom, I'm gonna also secure this with tape. You can kind of feel the pot in here. I'm just gonna tape it up. Sorry about the noise, but it has to be done. So, ta-da! So as you can see, this is packed up nicely. So what I'm gonna do next is make sure that the leaves in here are at the good right direction again, right? And then from here, I'm gonna wrap it just one more time. with a thicker piece of paper. Ta-da! And that's that. So you can see, right, okay, the top is still kind of showing. So this is what I normally do at the end is, I'm gonna make sure that the top is also covered up with cotton. So that way, you know that even if there's an impact or stress come from the top, it won't kill the plant. And I will also tape this up. Ta-da! There's so many thank you. And this is the finished product. So you can feel it. You can't feel the plant at all. It's all the cotton, right? So this is how you pack up a larger plant with a more sensitive stance. Do you ever have the experience of you finish packing the plants, everything is perfect, and then you find out that, oh my God, I don't have the right size of box? And if you have that experience before, you're not alone because it's happened to me all the time. So yeah, but all joke aside, it's happened like, you know, it's either you can find like, you have a box, but it's like not quite the right size. So after you pack the plants turn out to be like, you know, for example, like a little bit puffier than, you know, the box that you were gonna use and you don't want to squeeze it. So that's happened, right? One thing that I learned about packing plants is you have to be resourceful, right? So I'm gonna show you what I do with this plant. Because normally, right, oops, not this one. Normally, I would either use like, you know, the one that I pack my imbricata, which is like, you know, this size box, which is, you know, in no way gonna fit that. Or I use the other USPS box, which is like the shoes boxer size, right? But as you can see, like even the big one is not gonna fit, you know, this plant. So what I did for this particular plant is, I did this. So this is, as you can see, it's a shoes box, right? And then I kind of just, you know, use another box and I cut it. And then I tape it up. So that's become the perfect size of, you know, for the Monstera elbow. And I have so many other tricks I want to show you, but maybe next time. But okay, so here, let's finish packing. So as you can see, yeah, just make sure that if you're gonna do it, just make sure you tape it up really nicely because you don't want this pond to break, right? That's me, Lemmy. Sorry. Shh. That's my dog, sorry. But anyway, you want to tape it up, right? So remember those bubbles that I showed you, which is like, you know, the one that I'm gonna reuse. I'm gonna use a couple of this. I'm just gonna put it at the bottom just to make sure. A couple more at the bottom just to make sure. And the good thing about like, you know, packing this plant with the cotton too is like, you know, this is already a cushion right here, right? So if by any chance your plant gets tossed around and stuff like that, you know, it will be okay. So yeah, you always have to adjust. So you come here and then you put it here, perfect. So you can see there's still some room in here, so you can put more padding. So one test I like to do is, like after you finish packing, like you shake the box and make sure that it doesn't make any sound. So if it makes sounds, it means that your plant is being shaken around and you don't want that. So obviously this is not ready, right? So if I shake it, you hear that? Yeah, it's not ready. So what I'm gonna do is obviously, I am gonna take the plants back out, but you know, but you can always measure, right? So I'm gonna put a little bit more paper padding on the side, or even like more of this thing, just to line the wall of the box. So this one, and then I'm gonna have right here, I'm sorry, stuff everywhere, more on here, and then you slide it in there. so the plant is well protected. So from here, I'm just gonna put more. You don't want to squish it, by the way, right? So you just want to put more of this thing on here. And now if I close the box, see, there's no sun. So it means that it is good. And last but not least, I'm not gonna forget it, my thank you notes. So I'm gonna put this thank you note. I always put it on top. And voila. Okay, one more time. No sound, so that's good. And I'm just gonna tape this up. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, it's fun, you know, to be able to trade plants and give plant or sell plant to people. And it's also fun that, you know, you're trying, like, you can get to be creative, you know, like, you know, how do I make sure that the plants fit in there? Like, what kind of wrapping I use? So those are all really fun stuff for me. I don't know if it is for you. So please let me know in the comment below, like, you know, do you have experience shipping plants, packing plants? Like, how do you like it, or how do you not like it? Because I did hear a lot of people tell me that, oh my god, like, I really like to trade plants with my friends, but it stresses me out when I'm trying to pack, right? So yeah, so let me know in the comment below. So like I said, this is the first part of my pack and ship series, right? We just show you how to pack, like, you know, 2 separate types of plants. And in the next video of the same series, we're gonna show you how to ship plants. So that include, you know, what options do you have? Obviously, like what couriers, like USPS, FedEx, UPS. I'll go over all of that for you. There's also a lot of like third-party shipper that you can use, and how can you get some discount on shipping your plants. And we'll talk about all that in the next one, which is how to ship your plants. As always, thank you so much for watching. You have no idea how much this means to me. And if you like this video, make sure you click like. If you want more future video, including the next one, which is how to ship your plants, make sure you click subscribe. I will see you next time. Bye!